It's 19 till. Back with us now on the Sunrise Morning Show is Richard Ghazal, Executive Director of In Defense of Christians. Rich, good morning.
Good morning to you, Annie. How are you?
I am doing fine and always happy to get to talk to you as you keep us up to date on stories that sadly do not make the news very often. And we are going to be talking about Northeast Syria today. Of course, Christians in Syria have suffered so much over the past 10 years. What is the state of things in Northeast Syria specifically right now?
Well, I wish I had better news to report, Annie. Unfortunately, the situation hasn't improved much. In fact, in recent days, it's gotten a bit worse, in fact. Currently, as you probably remember from our past conversations, Turkey has been ramping up and bolstering for another attack into Northeast Syria. This will be the fifth of such attacks in the last 5 years. The most recent one that began a couple days ago is a bombardment, an aerial bombardment of Northeast Syria, which supposedly is in response to the tragic bombing last week in Istanbul. Turkey claims that the Istanbul attack last week was carried out by an affiliation of Kurdish separatist groups in Turkey and Syria. Now, I should point out that Kurdish groups such as the PKK in Turkey are indeed a bona fide terrorist organization. The U.S. recognizes them as such as well. But in the past, they've claimed credit for such attacks against Turkey. This particular attack, they've said we have nothing to do with it. But regardless of the Kurdish or PKK involvement, Turkey is using this tragic event of last week, and it certainly was a tragedy, as a pretext to continue and to expand its military operation into Syria that it's now been prosecuting, like I said, for over 5 years. The only difference now is the Istanbul bombing now provides Turkey that political cover that it needs to expand this offensive operation. Now, what's most threatening for Christians is the fact that Turkey is targeting areas indiscriminately. It doesn't distinguish between targets. So not only is Turkey targeting areas with supposed Kurdish separatists, but also, and most notably, areas that are heavily Christian concentrated, which is a significant concern for us, being that these Christians are still reeling from the ISIS genocide just a few years ago.
It's just so troubling, the whole situation. Folks may not have much memory of this. We've talked a lot about Syria in the past, Rich, but can you just remind us how Turkey is especially problematic in this part of the country for how long now?
Well, it's the most recent episodes have been the last 5 years, but it goes much further back than that, in fact. Turkey has had its eye on northern Syria and northern Iraq ever since the fall of the Ottoman Empire, really. And in recent years, after the vacuum created by ISIS, they figured it's the perfect time to make a move militarily into these areas. And unfortunately, like I said, it's Christians who are bearing the brunt of this conflict. And I'll point out, Annie, that it's not just the Turks of recent, but really for the past 2,000 years, the Christians of the Middle East, particularly southern Turkey, northern Syria, northern Iraq. This is, an area geographically known as Mesopotamia, of course. Mm-hmm. These are some of the first Christians, and for 2,000 years, they've been in a position where they've been pinned between warring factions, always stuck in the crossfire. So whether it's Romans and Persians, Arabs and Iranians, Sunnis, Shias, and now Turks and Kurds, these Christians have no stake in any of these conflicts, but they've always borne the brunt of the conflict and paid dearly for it. And right now it's probably worse than ever, to the point where Christians face extinction probably in our lifetimes.
Wow. Does the international community seem to be paying any attention to this? Is anything being done?
Yeah, the challenge is, although the international community is very interested in what's happening, because this part of the world is a region where stability comes at a premium, of course, and to see a NATO ally playing such a nefarious role and such a damaging role is very concerning for the international community. But because they are that NATO ally, it makes it that much more challenging. We have been tough with the Turks. We have, in fact, supported the democratic project unfolding in northern Syria. That is to say, the United States has supported, and they continue to support. One interesting note that I will point out to you to kind of put into context that relationship, between the West and Turkey is after the bombing in Istanbul last week, which, again, like I said, was tragic, took the lives of 6 and injured dozens more. The United States quickly responded by giving its condolences and offering its support. Turkey outright denied and rejected any offer of support and condolences from the United States.
Wow.
And again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This is a NATO ally we're talking about.
And this area of Syria has, I feel like I've talked about this before as a place where religious liberty and well, maybe not religious liberty, but that friendship between religions was really something that was working well. Am I right?
That is correct, Annie. In fact, and you did say it correct. The religious liberty part of it, you kind of wasn't too sure about that, but indeed, I can confirm there is religious liberty in Northeast Syria under the current autonomous administration. There are freedoms of expression and the use of one's own ethnic language, so it's a really wonderful project underway. Of course, it's not without its imperfections, not without its faults. There are a couple issues currently unfolding there having to do with the right of free education of Christian youth and so on. And these are issues that we have to handle in isolation, of course, one by one as they come. But on the whole, you are correct. It's a wonderful thing that we see unfolding in Northeast Syria, and it's important to support it and to encourage it and to correct it when it needs revectoring.
So how do you at In Defense of Christians try to support Christians in Northeast Syria?
Well, we try to maintain relationships as best as we can with the autonomous administration, of course. But as I said, when things need to be corrected, we certainly roll in and do so. We have friends on Capitol Hill with whom we confer quite frequently to keep them abreast of the positive developments as well as the not-so-great things that we probably think their attention should be focused on. And through these relationships and consensus building, we hope to play our part in protecting those Christians, hopefully for years to come.
Well, it's great work that you do at In Defense of Christians. You can find them linked at sunrisemorningshow.com. Rich Ghazal, I know you'll be keeping an eye on it and hope you come back soon to give us an update on all that's going on in Syria and also around the world when it comes to protecting Christians. Rich, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Annie. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.